to what are the most common mistakes that I see coaches make in SEO. Number one, not doing the keyword research. I've kind of covered keyword research at this point as much as I'm going to. And also using the wrong keywords. We all have ways that we think and talk about things, especially if we're in our zone of genius and subject matter expertise. We do tend to use jargon terms. Like if I were to tell you, header tag, alt text, these are things you may never have heard before. And so I will actually be explaining alt text in just a second. So knowing the words and how people are searching for the things that you talk about, and then matching your language to that is what's going to help you kind of overcome that. Plus, keyword research is really just discovering what is the market demand for the content that you have or the services that you provide. The next mistake that I see people make are ignoring the on-page optimization points, which we just went over with the your titles, your meta descriptions, all of that. But I am going to get on my soapbox just for a hot second about alt text. So for those of you that don't know what alt text is, it is essentially when you put an image on your page, it is the text that you use to describe it. So if you are using, we'll go into my media, and we will go with, okay, yep, this is good. So we'll go with this image. Alt text matters most for images that are not there purely for aesthetic purposes, which means they're not just there to look nice. A lot of blog images, when you have like the let me look, and I don't know, I'm doing this. This is not an aesthetic image. It is there to illustrate the point in the text. So this, you would want to have alt text with it to explain what it is. But if it's something that, let's say this was an image of just, a nice flat lay with, a teacup and a MacBook or something like that, and it's just there for aesthetic purposes, you just need to put aesthetic in your alt text and move on in life, because it's not there. Remember, alt text is for people with visual disabilities. I mentioned how, the headings is how screen readers will read the site. Screen readers read your alt text. So you want it to be descriptive, and you want it to be on the things that are adding additional context, like this image that she's included on her site. And so for this example, for me, it is, this is an image of me giving a training at an event. And the reason I had that explained is because I use this as a way to, reinforce the authority that, I do speak, and I have, spoken at Google events and things like that. So the title could work, but okay. So alt text is one place you can use your keywords. The image title is another one. And generally I like to include the brand name. So only do this for original content. You do not need to do this for things that are there just so you have an image to help break up text. That helps with readability, and you want to do that, but not every image is adds additional context. Sometimes images are just there to be pretty, and that's totally fine. So you just want something reflecting of, like, this is a beach sunset or something, or whatever you want to call it. Similar with the file name. But again, the file name I would only worry about if it's your own original image and you're trying to associate it with your brand. So that is image SEO in a nutshell. But again, on-page optimization points. The big ones: your title, your meta description, your headings, and your image alt text, and your file names really can kind of be tangential. You do want your file names to actually make sense to a human, not be img underscore 0452. Because while visually you can do that, it's just a lot better and makes them a lot easier to search if you're looking for a particular image. So make it easier on yourself. Use semantic file names. And so not doing keyword research, ignoring on-page optimization. The third mistake that I see people make is providing a poor user experience on mobile devices. We already kind of touched on that, where, I had an issue where I believe, I had text that was too small to read. I had click elements that were too close together, because if you're on a phone, it's super tiny and it's hard to click things. That's why most buttons on mobile devices are big, because you want people to take action, and that makes it easy. Neglecting your mobile devices can be one of the biggest ways that could be keeping you from ranking that is on the more technical side of things, because experience matters. And how do you know if your site is mobile responsive? One, pull it up on your phone. Can you do everything that you need to do on it? Is it not working so well? If it's working, or if you're using a WordPress, one of the ways you can check is, for me, WordPress Elementor, and I can go in. Apologies if this is bad. I am on rural internet, so bear with me. So it has this responsive mode here, and I can just click to go down to a phone size and see how my site is behaving or should behave at this distance or at this size. So I'm like, okay, if this is too small, then I can adjust it. And so that looks good from a mobile standpoint. So Google gives me the checkbox for that. And then let's see. So the fourth mistake is low quality content or duplicate content. So having pages with the same title and meta description usually sometimes will flag, because those are the things that Google looks at first. And if you have a template that you created, like, templates are very good and useful, but make sure that you update the titles and meta description. Otherwise, you're basically kind of creating things. And one of the tools that can help you solve that is the site audit. SEMrush for free will crawl up to 100 pages of your site. And some of the errors that will throw is like if you've got duplicate content or things like that. So that's usually where I see people that have been doing this a while have a thing, or if you just have pages that have very low content. And there may be reasons for that. Thank you pages tend to not be, these big long essays, but if it's a page that you care about and you're trying to get to rank and it doesn't have a lot of content, you need to beef it up. If you've been blogging for a while and you might have some digestible bite-sized things, consider bringing them all together into one robust article to kind of refresh the content and give it more of that oomph. The other thing that you can do is, we saw that globals, okay, yeah, I had to remember the canonical is. So you'll see this thing called canonical URL. So if there's a reason why, sometimes there is a legitimate reason why you have two pages with very, very similar content. So what you'll do in that case is, like, you might have either a landing page or a very specific article for something versus you've got like your main one. And so you'll say, this is the canonical. This is the one I want Google to see as the source of truth and to be the URL to win it all for this content type. Generally, most coaches' websites don't involve a lot of the canonical URL stuff, unless you've got like a larger content machine behind it, like a podcast or something, in which case, depending, you might want to. But that's something that you'd really have to get into an SEO site audit to determine that. And so not really something I can talk about in this Q&A. But we do have, let's see. So I've talked about not doing keyword research, ignoring on-page optimization, bad user experience on mobile devices, duplicate content, low quality content, not measuring how your content's actually doing. This is how people get stuck on the content hamster wheel, is you're creating content, which is good because you've got that bias towards action, but you're not stopping to see, okay, well, what content is working? What content is bringing the type of traffic that I want to bring to my site that's actually, fulfilling goals for me? So whenever that happens, when you don't measure it, you just feel stuck because you don't know what's working. So there's kind of two tools that go hand in hand with this. One is the Search Console, where you can see, this is what I'm already ranking for, and then tracking things like your impressions, click-through rate, and average position. And doing that on, I would say, a monthly basis. You don't need to look about this every day. It's like monthly, quarterly at most is probably going to be enough for most people. The other thing is with Google Analytics, I don't have it pulled up right now, mainly because I don't have any data to show you in that one, but using Google Analytics to look at your content performance of what blog posts have the most page views, what pages on your site have people interacted with the most, what has the highest engagement rate or the longest on-page time. Do those things make sense for the goal of those pages? Google Analytics is a whole topic I'm getting into in a couple months in November. So, send me those questions as well, and I can answer them then. And the other is not really building. So not building quality backlinks is another common mistake. And so we've all got those emails where it's like, I can get you this many quality backlinks for blah. Yeah, don't do that, because those tend to be link farms where they have scraped content off the internet and are just inserting links. And the whole purpose of those sites is to link out to other sites. That is a low quality backlink. You do not want to go anywhere near that. Don't ever pay for a backlink. Period. End of statement. Full stop. End of story. Paying for like a PR firm to help you is different, but paying for just links themselves, do not do it. Just don't, because it will hurt you way more, especially with the current algorithm, than it will help you. And the other is, disregarding technical aspects of SEO, like I said, the site structure, the speed. Those are things that can take you from ranking okay to leaping into the positions that you want. Focus on like getting your content doing well. The content is the most important part. And then once you're bringing in the right type of traffic that's converting and bringing in sales, then it's probably time to really look in and address SEO. Or if you are at a point where you have a content bank, doing an SEO audit to understand what technical things can be improved, or figure out a plan of either changing a site structure or migrating hosts to improve your site speed. But again, focus on what's easier for you to do first, which is going to be the content creation and getting that valuable content out. Then hire on for the more technical aspects to get you in an even better place.